A smile played over Adam's face. Sweat ran down between his eyes. He had been toiling for days, and the results were almost there. Just a little more. The components were congealing, reddening. Soon he would have the stone, and then he could bring her back. Just a little more, then he could do it. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today we take a look at one of the most powerful artifacts imaginable, the Philosopher's Stone. Now, I said that the Philosopher's Stone is amongst the most powerful artifact in all of mythology. But it isn't about offensive power. No, it is more utility. It could upend society if used wrong. Yeah, it has that kind of potential. Before we can understand a Philosopher's Stone, we need to talk about alchemy. The Greeks refer to it as the knowledge, or the art. It is a form of natural philosophy, what is called proto-science, which is basically just early science. The core principles are the same, just the terminology and means aren't. Cloudy line, wouldn't you agree? The main idea of alchemy was to turn base metals into the more noble ones, like gold and silver, or panacea, which is a cure-all for diseases. And the most prized was the elixir of life and immortality. They relied on herbology, astronomy, magic, metallurgy, among others. The terms and theories created for alchemy would influence modern science such as chemistry, biology, and physics. Their goal was the magnum opus, or the great work, which would purify body and soul. The oldest writings are from a Gnostic mystic called Zosimos of Panopolis in his text Chirok Meta. This is the oldest of all alchemy writings. Much of his work was inspired by Greek and Egyptian, with some Arabic influences. There are a couple of texts which offer a lot of insight into their research. The papyrus, Graecus Holmensis, or Stockholm Papyrus from 300 AD, are ancient formulas for creating dyes, cleaning and coloring gemstones, and creating fake gold and silver. There's also the Emerald Tablet, Tabula Smaragdina. The creation of the Philosopher's Stone was the ultimate goal of alchemists, and seemed to have failed. Many claim that Nicholas Flamel from 1330 to 1418 amongst those that did succeed. But there is no historical evidence that he ever practiced alchemy. All the records making such a claim start over 200 years after his death. Another from the same time period was Albertus Magnus, but again, he doesn't claim to have discovered the stone in his own writings. Only witnessed the transmutation to gold. I'm sure a modern chemist could figure this out. Probably just a chemical reaction, which replaced another substance in a gold compound. Now, what is the Philosopher's Stone? You'll also hear it called a sorcerer's stone or an alchemist's stone. Now, this may not be a stone at all. It is also called a tincture, which is a concentrated extract. Other sources call it a powder. It is generally said to be red in color, but a few say that an incomplete one will be white, and it is used to transmute to silver over gold. First, we need to jump all the way back to Plato. He described the world soul, or anima mundi, which is the prima materia, or the first matter. It is basically pure chaos. This is the matter of the Big Bang in theory, in which the breakdown into classical elements of fire, water, air, and earth, but later on ether was added. The term prima materia also happens to be used at the start of creating the stone. Now, I'm betting a few of you had heard the name Paracelsus, or Philippus Aurelius Theophrastus Bombardus von Hohenheim, a 16th century alchemist. He believed that you needed the alkahest, or universal solvent. His work would also involve the tria prima, or the three principles, which are required in chemistry and alchemy. These are a combustible, such as sulfur, a fluid like mercury, and a permanent element like salt. Okay, we have talked a lot about philosophers and alchemists, but nothing concrete. And well, that is because there is very little on how to really make it. But not nothing. There are said to be 3 or 4 steps according to Carl Jung. Mind you, he is from the more modern era, so take his idea with some salt. Other accounts give as many as 12, with steps including multiplication and projection. The first step is nigredo, or the blackening. This stage is putrefaction and decay of the starting ingredients. Next is albedo, or the whitening, purification. Then citronatus, also called xanathos, or the yellowing. Some texts remove this section. It is an incomplete phase. Lastly, there is rubedo, or the reddening, the completion of the stone. As for the ingredients, they are mostly unknown. There are a few speculated ingredients. The venom of a basilisk is said to be one. I would think it is used in nigredo to break down the ingredients, but that is just speculation. The rest of the ingredients are debated, with each alchemist having their own, including Isaac Newton having a suspected list. His included phosphoric mercury. Others include a mythical substance called karmat, and you would be amazed at how little I could find on it. So if any of you have a good lead, I'd love to hear it. And there is a reason we don't have a hard recipe. We don't know any who have successfully made it. The full list of what the stone can do is a bit. Of course, transmute metals, pure red stones for gold, and incomplete white ones for silver. The elixir of life is a small amount of the stone drunk in wine to restore health, cure diseases, and prolong life. It can even revive dead plants. You can also use it to produce a perpetually burning fuel for lamps, turn common crystals like quartz into precious gems like rubies and diamonds. It can also be used to make glass, which can bend and twist but not break, very similar to plastic. But the most interesting is the dwarf in the flask, more commonly called a homunculus. Paracelsus speaks of creating them in a gourd or flask, mixing a few ingredients including sperm and horse shit. After undergoing nigredo for 40 days, it'll start moving. You'll get something that looks humanoid, but transparent. Then you must feed it on the arcanum or secrets of human blood for 40 weeks. In time, it can be born similar to a human. Though it is small in size, it is said to be born with knowledge of the arts, being able to create golems, dwarves, and more. They come in both male and female variants, depending on the formula and other factors. Some are even said to be born as prophets. Now, at the start I said this artifact could upend civilization. What did I mean by that? And no, it's not hyperbole. Let's start with the homunculus. They are said that they can build golems and more right from the start. The process which Paracelsus talked about took a little longer than a pregnancy, but there was a big difference in the end result. One is helpless and a burden on his parents, with its only protection being that it is damn cute. But the other, it can do things, see the future, and build things. You can put them right to work, and you can make dozens of them, assuming you have enough materials. But you could use it to build an army. It could be used to breed a force beyond reckoning. The speed at which you could do this is incredible, and could easily overwhelm a standard army. And the losses would lose much of their meaning. There is a reason it is a taboo in Full Metal Alchemist. Okay, they say human transmutation, but similar. Conquering of death is another issue. Let's start with reviving dead plants. A drought and famine can be stopped. But could you grow crops in a barren land? Go into a desert and plant a massive farm. Suddenly, what you can maintain would shoot up. The only limitation would be how many Philosopher's Stones you have. But what happens when applied to people? No more sickness and old age. Sounds good. Well, what follows? No death. People could live forever. That could easily lead to overpopulation. Most likely, it would be isolated to a fragment of the population if the stones are limited. And the last one is creating silver and gold from iron and mercury. Now, most money is based on a perceived value. We say it has value because it doesn't. It's the scenario after societal collapse where money is useless. We see this in Germany after World War I. A loaf of bread in 1922 was 160 marks, but shot up to an insane 200 billion marks in 1923. It took a wheelbarrow of money to buy a loaf of bread. That is the issue with the Philosopher's Stone. Sure, you could be rich, but if you make too much gold, it can upset the economy. And again, this is one of the 3 taboos in Full Metal Alchemist. But this could be easily fixed if a fantasy world did not use gold for the standard of currency. Now, it just needs to be something that people agree have value. Salt has been used at times, among other things. So, it is possible. The Philosopher's Stone is truly a powerful artifact. Wouldn't you agree? It is probably for the best that it doesn't exist, right? The cure for diseases, a source of wealth, and several other valuable uses to say the least. Though it sounds like it would eventually run out from use. Though I need to ask, could someone have made one and kept it a secret? Surely people would be after it, and you. So we can understand why you would choose to hide. All you need to do is make a bit of gold. Not too much. Just enough to get by and slowly sell it off. You'll need to move around often to keep people from noticing that you don't age. Or be a hermit. In concept, yes. It would be theoretically possible to pull off, for a while. And once you make one, you can make another. And for the second one, you would have plenty of time. Adam's smile turned to cursing. As the red stone formed, it suddenly glowed and blackened to ash. A failure. He slammed his hands on the table before sweeping everything off it. All his tools bounced across the floor as his fury seeped forth. The Philosopher's Stone could really influence the world, if it would exist. For something with no blades or physical danger, it could easily shake up the world. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time for The Mummy. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.